administration is welding the doors in Trump's wall open so they can just waltz right through. And the cartel, they apparently now have a drone air force. We are not safe under Joe Biden anymore. All at 5.
You know what? Before you go, we touched on that story too, the whole welding thing. Joe Biden is actually, in his regime, actually welding gates open to make sure that we can't stop illegal immigration into the United States. Just correct me if I'm wrong, because you've worn the uniform of this country. Isn't that the opposite of protecting the United States of America?
Or securing our borders, which is a law that the president's to duly enforce. Hey, Chris, this is one of the things that at some point people are all going to wake up to this, and I think people like Mayor Eric Adams are already doing it. They're going to say, wait, hold on a sec here. None of these policies I bought off were sustainable.
No kidding. Eric Adams, we'll have to tell him about all this when he gets back from Israel. Thank you, Carl. We'll see you in a few seconds.
And Mark, anytime Democrats say we have a strategy at the border and it's working, hogwash. They are welding the actual gates to Trump's wall wide open. They're welding them open. They're not even leaving them open. They're welding them.
Yeah, look, Carl, I don't get this. Those floodgates are there for a very specific reason, i.e. there are flash floods that go on that region. They're supposed to open up temporary and then close. Hey, it was a win-win. It was a really effective use of the wall, but still protecting lands at the time. And now they're I'm hearing the same thing. They're welding them open. And this is an area right now in Arizona that is now become the epicenter of the crisis right now. This makes no sense from a ability to protect our nation. It does make sense from this administration continue to open border policies.
Yeah, well, I don't know what they're getting out of it, but they're certainly hurting Americans. Mark Morgan, 2 weeks we've discussed how Mexican cartels are becoming even more lethal and brazen, which has only intensified the concerns stemming from our wide open southern borders, literally. But a recent report illustrates how those concerns may soon reach an entirely new level. One of the more notorious cartels, it's created its own, basically an air force with a drone unit and operators who have the ability to weaponize these commercial drones and turn them into flying bombs. This drones can be purchased with just a few simple mouse clicks on Amazon or eBay. Joining me now to discuss potential repercussions of this, Mark Morgan, former acting CBP commissioner and visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Mark, we've talked about this. It's been bad. There's a lot of migrants. They're coming in, some committing crime, draining a ton of resources. Now they have flying bombs.
Yeah, look, Carl, this is nothing new. They've been using drone technology for several years. But, Carl, you know this well from your military background. Any organization that has the ability to quickly change their TTPs, their techniques, tactics, and procedures, really shows a high level of sophistication. And that's what we've got here. Not only just a few years ago, they were using ultralights, and then they shifted to drones. And now they've even evolved the use of that operational technique even more now to create these specialized units. But they've been using drones to bring drugs in the United States. They've been using drugs to go after their competitors as well. And now they're getting more sophisticated. But Carl, this is just like fentanyl. You know, it wasn't that long ago when fentanyl was coming directly from China and Mexico. The cartel said, "Hey, wait a minute, we can do better. Ship the precursors directly to us." They went forward with their own chemists and trained their own chemists, so that now they're making their own fentanyl and synthetic drug pouring across the United States. This is just another example of how powerful and influential they are.
Yeah, and we're doing nothing about it. But I want to go back to early July. Remember, you probably remember this. Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. He went on Meet the Press and spoke about these dangers. Look at this.
I want to empower the President of the United States, whether that's a Democrat or Republican, to use the power of the U.S. military to go after these drug cartels. The Colombian drug cartels were so powerful that Colombia became a failed state. What about 3 years from now when the Mexican drug cartels are more powerful than the Mexican state itself?
I remember when Trump said, hey, maybe we should consider using the military down there. Everybody lost their minds.
Yeah, well, President Trump was right then, and Representative Vance is right now. I spent 20 years in the FBI, Carl, and I can tell you for 40 years, we've been using the same traditional prosecutorial method and approach to go after the cartels, and it's failed miserably for 40 years. We can't go after the cartels like we did the mafia in the United States. We need to go after the cartels with the same level of commitment, resources, and tenacity that we do terrorist organization. And that includes, look, you know this well from your military. I'm not saying wall tanks in there, but surgical precision, special operations, kinetic operations in Mexico. That's exactly what it's going to take, because Mexico, they just don't have the political will anymore. They don't have the capacity to actually defeat the cartels at this point.
Hey, I mean, Mark, like, call me crazy. Maybe we should put tanks down there at the border, and when they launch a drone or attacks or fire at our drones or our men and women, maybe we should turn that site into a parking lot. I'm sorry, not sorry, but these are American lives at risk here. I want to